Okay, the kiln. Ooh, something's in here, have fun. Okay, so take a shot in there. I want to glance in there for me. There's going to be shelves not in it yet. There is one today. But if you want to show on the video, this guy is called a thermocouple. Don't ever hit it with a shelf or with a stilt or a project, because that's what keeps the temperature for the whole thing. Okay. If that breaks, it won't monitor. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up. Underneath each, oopsie, and I just hit it. Okay. Underneath each shelf, there should be 4 stilts, and they should line up with the project. So if you have really short projects on the bottom, you'll have really short stilts. Okay, so I always do 4 and line them up, and then put the shelf on after all of it's full. Okay. It's up to you, like which stilt you use. So like, let's say they're a little bit too tall, you can add a really short one on top of that, so it's, you know, lines up a little bit taller. Okay. Let's say your shelf awkwardly lines up with this guy. You can't do that because it won't fit. Okay. So you have to either do it above or below, but it cannot touch this. Okay. The shelf should also not touch the outside of the kiln. Okay. So neither should project. Okay? Okay. Also, half shelves. So if you put a half shelf on, you need to have it should split like in half. So half of the shelf will touch and like lay on part of this and this, and the other half will lay here on that. Okay. Half shelves are a little bit easier because they're a little bit lighter. But let's say you have just like a couple tall ones over here. You could put a shelf here and then another shelf higher, so they don't have to be even. Okay. If you don't want them to be. Okay, firing. When you're firing, you need to make sure all of these are plugged. Sometimes to let it cool, we take them out, but make sure that they have these plugged in when you're firing. Okay. Before you start, you will close the lid. You will latch it. Once it's latched, it's ready to fire. Over here I have a note for you. Bisqueware fires at 04 and glaze is 05. Okay. So I forget that every time. I literally have to look it up every time. But some people are number people and they remember. So what happens is when it's done, this actually never shuts off. So either we'll just be sitting there and saying like it's idle or it's complete. This shows I just fired it. So if I stop it, I'm back to idle again. Okay. So let's say I want to do a bisque fire. So what I will do is I'll push cone fire, and a bisque is 04. So I'm going to push 04, enter, and it'll ask me what speed. I want my speed to be medium, and that's typically already set. And I'll enter that. You don't really ever want to do bisque fast. That's a terrible idea because then they explode. I don't want to hold it, and it's now at the idle, so I can start it. So what I would do to start it is I would just push start. Now let's say I'm like, oh, did I do that right? You have to push review, and it will go through everything. So it's cone 04, this is the speed, this is the hold, there's no delay, 00, alarm at this temperature, air code's on. It just kind of reviews it for you, and then all you have to do is press start. There it is, and then now it's on. The fan will kick on after a little while, and those clickings are saying like, hey, it's on. So let's say I want to stop it. Oh, I did it wrong. Never mind, I forgot a project. I can stop it and it's fine. It's not too hot or anything.
And it stops automatically when it's done?
Yes.
And how long should I wait for it to cool before I touch them?
So it'll run for about 8 hours, and it takes that long to cool off as well.
Okay.
So whenever it'll have the temperature. So right now it's 69 degrees in there. Whenever that says, it'll say CPLT, and that means complete. When that says CPLT, it'll say the degrees. So it's like 345. That's still way too hot.
Yeah.
When it gets down to like the hundreds, that's okay to like crack it, or maybe just take some of these out, let that air kind of get out. Usually when it's like 100 or so, I will even open it and let it air out. But if you want to do it maybe like 200 or so and like let these peepholes show, that would be fine. If you let it air out too fast, it'll crack.
Okay.
And that's not good. So we don't want that to happen. So let's say it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You just got the kiln loaded. You don't necessarily want to fire it at 3 o'clock because we are supposed to be here when it's the highest temperature. So what you can do is you can set a delay so it will turn on tomorrow at a certain time and then fire all day. So let me show you how to do that. So let's say I'm going to do a Kono 5. I'm going to do a glaze fire. Enter. Speed, medium. Always medium. So I'm going to push delay. Oops, I need to enter. Delay. So the delay means how many hours do you want it to wait before it fires. So let's say it's 3 o'clock, and I can technically start at 3 o'clock in the morning because that's not the highest heat. So that's usually what I do is like 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning I start it. So that way it's already hot by the time I get here, and I'm here when it's the highest heat. So then I just push 12. These are hours, these are minutes.
Okay.
So you always want it to be over here. So I want it to start in 12 hours. I'd push enter, start. So now it's going to turn on, but it's with the timer.
Okay.
So you'll see that this starts to tick down from 12. You'll see, 11, whatever's left.
Okay.
Or 10. It'll just kind of say whatever's left.
So I have to be here when it's firing at its highest temperature?
Yeah, the teacher. You don't have to be here.
Oh. So whenever there's just going to be a teacher here?
Yes.
So let's say we're doing hybrid, and I don't come in on Mondays, but I know there'll be a teacher. I can fire it
for
on
the next day.
I can set it for Monday?
Yes.
Okay.
Mondays are kind of tricky because you have to count like a ton of hours. Like 40, whatever.
24, 12.
Yes, but you can still do that. And you can set it to where it's going to fire then. Or you can set it to where it starts at like Sunday night at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So that way it's starting, and then it's hottest when people are here.
Okay.
And then that way it's going to complete whenever you're here and you can check it or whatever. Or the teacher can. Okay. So that's a good question. But yeah, so now it's just going to count down and turn on from there. The fan won't turn on until this timer is done. So see, you can see it's counting down already. Okay?
Okay.
Let's see. Can stop that. Idle just means it's not going. So if you ever think you started it and it says idle, it's not going.
Okay.
It'll say on whenever it's on. So
cool.
That's pretty much it,